So I want to recap on kind of the components of onboarding real quick so you understand, and some of you guys already understand this, but understand the challenges around onboarding reps, the time investment associated with it, et cetera, and help you understand how we can help you build out a better onboarding system and reduce your leadership workload in the process at the same time. And again, recruiting, if you look at, kind of recruiting and onboarding as the growth function of the sales team, recruiting is actually the simpler part of the process versus onboarding. On average, it's about a 10-hour time investment in the entire recruiting cycle to get one rep in the door. And obviously, if you need to recruit 2, 3, 4, 5 reps to get one to stick or whatever the numbers are going to be for you, then you just expand that time investment. So obviously, the purpose of the recruiting service is to increase your volume and quality of recruits and then also reduce your workload in the process. So you guys understand that. When you look at the onboarding process, depending on how complex your role is, meaning that, really highly technical, long sales cycle B2B opportunity compared to hypothetically a short sales cycle, direct to consumer, maybe canvassing appointment setting opportunity, those are radically different sales models. On average, if you were to look at an onboarding process, it's usually about 20 hours in leadership time per hire. So if I recruit an onboard rep, it's a 10-hour time investment in the recruiting process. Obviously, that'll be less for you guys because you're working with us. But in the onboarding process, on average, if you're doing onboarding correctly, which I'll cover what that looks like in a second, it's about 20 hours in leadership time. If you need to recruit 2 reps to get one to stick, 3, 4 reps to get one to stick, you just expand those numbers. So the point is onboarding can be a total nightmare, and we want to make it to the best of our ability, not a nightmare on you guys, okay? So real quick, 4 components of onboarding. For some of you guys, you already have really good onboarding processes yet. For some, maybe there's kind of pieces here and there. Some clients have kind of nothing in place. Regardless if you have an onboarding process today or we're going to help you, these are kind of the components of onboarding that are really important. There's 4. There's the informational side, there's role play, there's coaching, there's structure. Those are kind of the 4 components of onboarding. And so information, this is kind of like, who do we sell to, our ICP, our offers, what we sell to our ICP, our ideal client profiles, the actual sales system, right? The day-to-day job of the sales rep is to execute the sales system and, what the activities look like to be successful. Those are kind of the basics of what we call the informational side of the onboarding process. What does success look like from an activity perspective? Who do I sell to? What am I selling to them? And what's the sales system? So if you were to look at the informational side of the onboarding process, what I hypothetically need to know if I come on board to your organization, that's kind of the bare minimum with the sales system, because that's the day-to-day role of the rep. That's the majority of what they're doing. And so most companies, whether it's an owner or a sales leader or whatever, most companies will invest this time live to give reps that information. I'm a leader, I'm at an organization, and I onboard a group of reps, 2, 3, 4, 5 reps, whatever the number is, and I spend 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, getting them the information that I want them to get. Who do they sell to? What are we selling to them? The sales system, what success looks like from an activity perspective, daily, weekly, monthly. And usually, and it depends, but usually a minimum of 5, but in most cases, a 10 to 20-hour time investment alone just in that process. So when a rep comes on board, they don't just magically know everything about your opportunity. So we need to get them the information. And most companies will spend 10 to 20 hours regurgitating the information to reps as they come on board. And 2 negative aspects of that is obviously there's a big time investment there, but statistically reps can forget up to 85% of the information the first time they hear it. So leaders will invest the time into the onboarding process and reps will forget the information, which tells us that reps need to get the information multiple times if you're following. And so the first thing that we can help you with that's super valuable at Sales Recruiting University is we can solve that problem in the form of developing a custom university, a branded new hire training university, branded to your opportunity, videos, documents, quizzes. So when I come on as a rep, instead of you spending 10, 15, 20 hours with me in the first week to get me all the information that I'm going to forget up to 85% of, you actually let me go through an automated university so I can learn that information on my downtime, saving leadership time. But what that also allows you to do is it allows you to set up a process where reps go through that information 2 to 4 times in the first 2 to 4 weeks, and that increases information retention. The first big thing that we can do on the onboarding side for you guys is help you build that, and that'll impact retention rates and also reduce your leadership workload a lot. So that is a killer thing. Now, the way that looks in the development of a university, what we do is and you'll naturally get on a call with somebody sometime in the first couple-ish weeks onboarding into our service. And by the time that you get on that call, we'll start to have a conversation that looks something like this. And so when we get to that call, we'll have a university outlined for you. And by the way, if this is not relevant, it's relevant to 80 to 90% of the clients that we serve. But if it's not relevant to you, then you don't have to do this. But if it is, then you're going to naturally go through that client onboarding process. And when we get on that future call, we'll have a training outline that has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on it. And there will be it'll be outlined content based on your model. That's roughly 2 hours a day. And all the content around your model, your sales process, who you sell to, what you sell, what it looks like to be successful in the role. We'll say, hey, we've developed an outline for you. And, in terms of the informational side of the onboarding process, we've outlined from our perspective, although you can tweak it, of course, because it's your company, we've outlined from our perspective what the informational side of the onboarding process should look like over a 5-day period. Just a side note, the reason that we structure this outline over 5 days is if you caught on the other page, it's good for reps to go through the content 2 to 4 times in the first 2 to 4 weeks. So they go through Mondays on Monday, all the way through Fridays on Friday. And then they repeat that process a couple times in the first 2 weeks, allowing them to go through it multiple times if you're following. So that's why we set it up over 5 days, although the end result doesn't need to be like that. But we get to that call and we say, hey, here's a university outline. And then the next big step for you is to get the videos done. But we give you this outline and we say, hey, here's the content, customize the outline in whatever way that you see best. But ideally, get the videos done in a structured way over a 5-day period. You don't have to, but ideally over a 5-day period, because of this reason, for future onboarding structure reasons. And then the best way to get the videos done is you do exactly what I'm doing right now. You pump candidates, into a Zoom call, or you take your existing team and you get them on a Zoom call, or you just do the videos on your own, whatever it is, however it is that you want to do it. And you film those 5-ish days of videos for a couple hours, 1 hour, 3 hours a day, whatever it looks like for you. And as you complete those videos, you send us over the recorded versions of the video. And once we get all the videos done, within 2 weeks from there, we develop a custom university, a branded LMS, branded videos, branded documents, branded quizzes. And the end result is you have an automated university. So instead of you spending 10 to 20 hours going through the content when you onboard a rep or a group of reps, they're going through videos, documents and quizzes. So we give you an outline. We say, hey, go get the videos. That's kind of your big piece in this, assuming you want to plug into this part of Sales Recruiting University service, which is highly recommended. And as soon as you get those videos done, whether you take a week or a month to get it to us, once those are all in, we'll have a fully developed university within 2 weeks. And then that university can be implemented into your onboarding process day one. So instead of you, again, going through 2 to 3, 4 hours of content a day, reps are going through videos. Just a side note as well, this is not relevant to everybody, but for some companies, they have zero onboarding process in place and kind of no real sales training. And so when you get on that call, because obviously you don't have this university done, because you got to get the outline, get the videos done. Then within 2 weeks of us getting the videos, you'll get the university. Because there's that gap in time, we set up like a general sales foundations course for you so that if you're actively recruiting before you have the onboarding process in place, which is what most companies do, it's totally preference based, but so that they have something in place today. If they have nothing, we build them inside of their learning management system, a general sales foundations course. So again, this is not relevant to everybody, but when you get on that call, you'll have access to a general sales university. And we'll have a Rep Coach AI built, which I'll come back to that here in a second. Most of you guys are familiar with that too. But this sales university is 20 modules, and it's just a good general A to Z university, regardless of what your opportunity is. So why sales is the highest leverage skill in the world, the identity of a top sales performer, rejection, discomfort, and why your brain lies to you. So foundational things all the way through technical sales, rejection, sales process, et cetera, et cetera. You can learn about this later, but it's awesome. And it's a 20 module A to Z sales course that is a valuable tool to utilize in your onboarding process if you want to use it or if you have nothing in place today. You'll get access to this inside of your own learning management system when you have that call. And that's the same call where we will give you this outline to then go get the videos done.